Oh, okay, great.
So excited to have you here. Oh my God, I've been like a big fan of yours in the background for months. And I don't know if you remember me, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I work with women in the area of menopause to work through this season of all these crazy symptoms. And I know you being a yoga instructor have a lot of answers. So, I'm going to throw it to you. I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to try to listen, and then we're going to have a conversation about yoga. You go ahead, girl.
Okay. So my name is Erica, but I also go by LeAndrea, as you see. I'm also kind of a health and wellness coach, and kind of adding on to that. I started out just doing yoga, like taking yoga classes. I would say like maybe 5, 6 years ago. And I just was like, this is really hard. I had never done like any sports for real. Like I kind of was athletic, but not really. And I had a lot of just kind of like a lot of emotional baggage. So, but I didn't know that at the time. I was kind of like in and out of relationships. I was in a more longer term relationship, and I wasn't doing anything for myself. Like I was just kind of, there, and just kind of anything that I did, we did. And if I was at work, I was at work. Then when I came home, that's all I would do. I would go to work. I would come home. I would eat. And that was like kind of it, go to sleep and do it all over again. So I knew something was like, I needed to do something with my life. I was, 20 something and starting to put on a little weight. I wasn't in college, but I was putting on like college weight, right? Like I was in college. We were just, and the relationship that I was in, it was kind of like rocky and stuff, but I find that a lot of times, most of us are in relationships like that, that are kind of like overly consuming, our time. And we don't have any time for like self, or we don't dedicate any hobbies or any specific amount of time, to ourselves. So my first class I took with a friend, and it was really hard because it was a hot yoga class, and neither one of us knew what hot yoga meant. Okay. We was like, what's hot yoga? Oh, okay. We going, we up in here. And so that's exactly what happened. We went and we found out, and then I found out the hard way that I didn't know my left from my right, like when it came time, like I didn't know anything. So long story short, I decided to keep on going to that class. That was really difficult for me, right? I decided to push past that discomfort, and I kept going to class. And then, I would start to see my body change. It started to transform my body. So like I've never been flexible or like athletic, as I've talked about before. And so like I just started to be, I began to just, acquire all these new skills, and slowly but surely my body had transformed. But after doing yoga for so long, I suddenly hit a plateau. And so then I needed to do more stuff. So then I finally got the courage to start working out, right, and start eating right, start taking group classes at the gym. This is all pre-COVID, when that sort of thing was like a good thing, and it was on and popping. So basically, through yoga, I was able to transition myself into wellness, into the wholeness of, I'm saying, like taking care of your body. Not only is it what you do, right.
Awesome.
Right. So, and then after that, I started teaching. And so then I got really excited to the point where I wanted to teach. And that was going really well up until last year or this year when COVID hit. So that was going really good up until then. But I figured, it's time for a change. We have to find a new approach to, health and wellness. One that isn't based on us going to a certain establishment, or a certain institution, because that's not going to be promised. That's one thing that we've learned this year, is that not a lot of things are promised. So, and I now am redefining what the terms health and wellness mean from home. But the good news is that yoga you can do anywhere. That's why I love it so much. You can do it anywhere. You don't need a mat. A lot of times I'll be standing in the grocery line and balancing on one foot, like, just because that's what I want to do. So, and I know I'm probably weird looking and stuff, and, but you just kind of zone out and you make it your own. I, for one, am like really obsessed with like balance and transitions. Like, I'm not really stagnant. I don't really like, and there's so many different kinds of yoga that's a good thing too. You can kind of pick what works for you. Like typically when you start a class, you might be in a beginner's yoga, restorative, and that might be a little slower. Some people don't really like care for that, and I'm kind of one of those people. Now I can say that, okay, but it is still necessary. You'll have it. You still need the restorative yoga, even if you don't do it like every day. It's still a necessary kind of yoga, so that you can intentionally slow down. So I love that about yoga. We know that it has different facets to it, lots of different elements that play into it, and I just kind of fell in love with it. So that's my long story short.
Well, I saw your poses and they just moved me because you don't see a lot of women of color do yoga. I haven't seen a lot. Not saying that they're not there. I'm just saying I have not seen a lot. And I was taking class, like I say, from college days to just a few years ago. And there were, a blend of different people in the class because I was like recently I'm in the DC metro area, so it's multicultural, but by and large, there just weren't a lot of African-American women there or women of color. So when I saw your poses, they like so graceful, so beautiful, so engaging. And from this, oh my God, I just got to know this woman. But I don't know if you remember, we had communicated, maybe this was about a year ago, where I was looking to take a course that one of the people that you support, I think she's moved out of the country since. I see her every now and then, like in Ghana, I think it was, and we had communicated. And you had such a sweet way of communicating through our exchange for me trying to get into that course. And I'm just like, oh my God, this woman is amazing. But I didn't know everything that you were involved in. And when I saw your poses, I'm like, I gotta connect with her sometime, some way. And I reached out to you. I think we've been kind of catching each other on Facebook from time to time.
Yeah.
But then I just reached out to you. I'm like, hey, I would love to talk to you about yoga. And you're like, yeah, sure, sis, no problem. I'm like, this girl is the bomb. So first, thank you for being receptive, because sometimes people, they're so busy, they don't have any time. So that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that you saw this and within 5 years, now you're teaching it.
Oh yeah. Well, it was kind of like that thing you said, where you want to, I think at some point with you investing in a certain element, like you want to feel represented, or you want to at least do your best, to get yourself out there and, push your own limits. And I think it was really important for me to get into yoga, and start like making my path in health and wellness, because I don't have any prior examples of what that looks like at all. Like I come from a long line of some health issues, and obesity kind of runs in my family, and heart issue, it's a lot. And so I think for our community
of color, we have a proclivity to have a lifestyle that health seems to be really challenging for us.
Yes.
So I ask something,
but
how did you end up going to this class with this friend? Was she affiliated with somebody in health? Like, how do you get that introduction into that space?
All I can say is that it was definitely divine timing, because at the time I was living a non-movement life. I was very like sedentary, and I was working at a hotel in downtown Oklahoma, or somewhere in Oklahoma, I think Midwest City. And I was a supervisor there, and we needed help. And so we were hiring, and so she was a girl that I interviewed, and she actually herself, like she has kids and stuff, and she's not active at all. So both of us were non-active people, and after I hired her, we became friends. And then we were kind of talking about how, non-active we were. I want to change that, of course. We want to grow. And she introduced me to the class, and neither one of us knew a thing about yoga. She never really, worked out, and I never really worked out. We just was kind of like, well, you want to go be clueless together, at this class. So literally it was divine timing.
It was just like that. So was it a class that was being offered in your area? Did you see an ad on Facebook? Like, how did you get that like mindset? Like, hey, let's go check out a yoga class. Like, that's not normally something.
Well, she did, she brought it to me. I just kind of hesitantly said yes. And I'm not like, it takes me a long time to try new things sometimes, because I get in my shell and I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. or I need someone to go with me to help me get out of my comfort zone. So that we were really there for like moral support for each other. And she pushed me and I said, okay. And then we went and made a fool out of ourselves.
But it has turned into a passion of yours. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. So are you still in Oklahoma or have you relocated?
So I relocated several times. I came from Oklahoma back to my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. And then from there, I've moved again and I'm now in Dallas, Texas, and kind of just doing the same thing, trying to build off of what I've been doing for the last few years, taking my business online, et cetera, et cetera. So now I'm in Dallas. It may not be permanent, but we are here temporarily anyway.
I embrace your thirst for movement because just like you, I've moved around the globe and I'm here for a while, but I still have my
Yes.
live overseas for a while again. But with COVID, I'm like, well, we just gonna wait on that. But I enjoy the West Coast. Here, it's okay. It's a lot of snow that comes sometimes, and that's challenging. But it is what it is. Life is to be embraced, to be enjoyed, and I try not to subscribe to just like it is what it is. Like you can always shift and move. We got so many choices here in this world, especially in being American. So my question is like, okay, if I'm working in my space of health and wellness, and I work with older women, and I don't even like the word old, but women who are just second spring, that's what I refer to as menopause. Like, how would you work with women like that who maybe have never been introduced to yoga and can open their mindset about incorporating yoga as a way of moving? Because as I had mentioned to you, I had taken yoga classes off and on different locations, and now it's a couple of years and I haven't taken it for a while. But there was a woman that was teaching it during lunch break, and this woman, she was in age range that I was in, but she looked like a bodybuilder. Like her muscle tone was amazing, and her balance, like that's all she said she did was taught yoga classes. And I was thinking like, okay, so I'm the kind of person, I used to do a lot of cardio. I used to run. I'm not a runner anymore. I still try to do like HIIT a bit. I still do my strength training. The gym has been closed, so I haven't worked out with my trainer in like 8 months. And I can tell my muscle tone, I mean, it was there, but it's not the way it was. I need flexibility. I need yoga. I need to be able to sustain a pose for a long period of time to strengthen my muscles. So if you could speak to that, and maybe, I don't know if you're doing like online yoga classes or something that you can do to support women in that area who are in this space like I'm in, and we're quarantined, but you need to move.
Yes. So I have a client that I'm working with now, well, a couple of clients, but one in particular that I feel like matches this topic. She I don't know how old she is, but I know that she is gracefully aging so beautifully. And we work together. And we do a lot of yoga. Now, it kind of just depends. We switch it up a lot. So it depends on what kind of person you are, going in. You have to know yourself. You don't want to sign up for too much and you don't want to bore yourself. So what I encourage her to do a lot of times that we don't meet, is to set the mood, set your space, like have a certain area, like this kind of like your altar, right? But it's for your body. So some of our altars, it can be more spiritual, or it can be like a place or space that we set up when we put our pictures out and the things that we want to look at. But when it comes to the physical body and our temple, fitness is an everyday choice, so that means every day we have to like find a way to connect, and I do offer online courses and classes as well. But I met my particular client. I think that she also knew the same person that you were talking about, one of the great influencers that we both, or all three of us, follow. Okay. She was one from her class as well. So she ended up reaching out to me, to figure out how she could, so she's from Lisa's courses, and she kind of reached out to figure out how she could get her at home fitness together because she was affected by quarantine as well. Her gym closed, her trainer wasn't available. And since then, we've been training with each other. We've been connecting on that level. So I push her a lot. She's not only doing yoga anymore. She does like strength training. You know, we push her for the HIIT training. We put a lot of challenges in her way, and not only that, I think it's good to mix it up because, like I said, I eventually hit a plateau with yoga, and I needed to do something more, or at least, you know, do different kinds of yoga. Now, for women who are menopausal or just around that age, I don't think that that means that you necessarily have to do slower kind of yoga. You know what I mean? But I do think that knowing what to do, or at least having that vocabulary of the different poses of what they can offer you, you know, where you're feeling pain today. Well, how can, you know, I start to, you know, do something that's going to help ease the pain. So depending on what you're doing it for, you know, if it is for that pain or stress relief, you know, it may be certain moves or certain poses that you definitely want to reach. Now, I hope I'm not getting too off target because I can be more specific, but when it comes to yoga, it's really just about connecting.
There's like, I guess, beginners poses, just the stretching, like the cat poses and the upward, the downward dog or something, just stretching. I know somebody in my family who has some surgeries, and they were trying to look at the restorative yoga. I've never done that. I think for me, it's not just about mastering the pose. It's like, this is a spiritual journey, I feel.
Yeah.
Really tap into like your inner self. It's not like you're listening to all the noise outside. It's just like knowing internally that you have the ability to go into this place of being like so much is dictated to us. And I love like being in my yoga classes because I felt like the noise kind of stopped.
Absolutely.
So I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's almost as if this is self-care.
Oh, indeed. A lot of people think that self-care, you know, has to do with how you're working out and what you're eating, which it totally does, right? But yoga is definitely a deeper form of self-care because, like I said before, you know, I was going into yoga classes with a heavy mind, you know, with all the things that people were telling me that people were telling me that I should do, the opinions from loved ones, from husbands, you know, or boyfriends or partners, you know, or just family and friends and stuff. Like, that was a whole lot of weight. I think that women, especially older women, you know, and I don't want to say older, but my more mature, you know, women who have gone through a lot of things, you know, because I can't imagine what it's like to be that age, you know, in this place that we are in, especially America. You know, that means that you've suffered through years of trauma, you know, and stress and, you know, double-minded consciousness, or, you know, having that double mind, you know, on what people think of us to be and how we should actually be. So yoga is, I think, an absolutely great place to start, you know, and that beginning yoga is so good because the poses are so simple. You can just kind of take your mind off of doing the hard things or complicated, you know, and just think about what you're thinking about, you know, and if you're not thinking about something that serves you, replacing that thought, you know, or just finding some time to clear your mind. I will say that, you know, yoga, it has its incentives like flexibility and mobility and stuff like that. That's the incentive, is the physical that we could gain. But on a deeper level, there's so much spiritually that we truthfully can get out of it. And I think that's the better part.
Right. So tell me a little bit about like your package, because I would like to put, you know, your website or how people can contact you, because I'm sure people, when they see your beautiful soul, and maybe you can demonstrate a couple of poses so they can see what I saw and connect with you, because my thing, I want this to be a platform where women support women. And I know what yoga is for me, and I'm going to have to connect with you and try to get back into my yoga, because if you're doing it online, and I can work that into my schedule a lot more than I can being into a studio and then worried about all of the aspects of COVID and social distancing and stuff. Like it's just easy enough to add it online. And then if women can see that, you know, I'm embracing it, and then the benefits that I've had from it, like that's the biggest example that can speak to other women. And for you to be doing it virtually, like, why not take advantage of this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, I think over the quarantine, it really started to hit for me that we needed an online platform and stuff. So, that is really when I started taking those courses and getting the word out. Okay, you guys, come log in and come meet me on Zoom on your yoga mat, right? So we always have fun there. Typically, those classes are 30 to 45 minutes, just kind of depending on who's all involved, what you guys are going through. And it's definitely a supportive community. We talk about our days. We have affirmations. That's been one of the bigger things we've been tackling is our minds, and what
Program is about the mindset. Yes. Yes. You
yes.
are so right. Yes.
Yes. So we've been coming in with like certain affirmations. We'll spend some time journaling before, after, or sometime in the middle, and then we come up with affirmations. So it's really more like an all-encompassing, like, self-care course. Not only that, I kind of discuss nutrition, what you can expect to be your daily energy requirements, or nutrition, if you're vegan, what you want to look out for. If you're vegetarian, what you want to make sure you're covering. So it's probably a little more all encompassing than just your regular yoga classes now. But I do have a website, I have everything kind of outlined on there, so you can do like private yoga packages or the group yoga. And then I'm also opening up my course again December 1st for
Okay.
new enrollment. Yeah, so until then we'll probably do like some 7-day challenges in between, and those are usually I would say just a week of just some preparation, like giving you the tools that you need to succeed on your own, so that you kind of have less to worry about with me, or you can tune in live, and that's always fun and interactive. And those are pretty reasonable. Usually I do a month for around 50 or so, or you can do like individual kind of packages. And then, like I said, the 7-day courses or 7-day challenges, they will be individually priced and kind of unique, but giving you more aspects of just what you're moving to, how you're eating, what you're drinking, are you meeting your requirements? So it's definitely all health and wellness packaged together.
I absolutely love it. So what's the name of your website where people can?
The name of the website is flawsandallfitness.com, and it's super easy. So I'm like Flaws and All Fitness, and that is where I kind of just really hone in on the fact that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. Even me, myself, and as we go through winter, we're all going to be experiencing changes in our body composition may fluctuate. I feel like I'm getting a little more thicker, and I'm just kind of having to remind myself that's okay.
At home all the time now. I have to focus on
you at home all the time.
and walk.
You eat all your snacks, Yes.
Like, I'm like, okay, but this is not what I want it to be, like flat. Like I noticed I would probably say like pants that used to be loose, like they fit, but they not loose no more anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed I need to do something. Yeah. So I'm going to definitely look into Flaws, FLAWS, and Oz is AUHS.
All spelled out. So there's no, abbreviations for the N. It's FLAWSANDALLFITNESS.com. And it's a little website I kind of made this year, so it's all brand new stuff on there. But I'm excited because I'm finishing up my nutritionist course, and I'll be certified, and we'll just keep on just basically giving you all. I think the thing that makes me most excited about yoga is that like it's a small step into a larger pond, as far as health and wellness goes. But it's such a small step that it shows, that you're taking initiative and you care about your peace of mind, and then you can gradually introduce yourself to more, to the nutrition, to your activity level, to hitting all your nutrition requirements depending on who you are, vegan, vegetarian, or meat eater, and then being able to notice like when something is off. How can we start to monitor our own bodies and notice, any sort of imbalance, you know, because we can notice it if we really pay attention. Like if we're dehydrated, we should be able to tell by certain signs, right? You know, on the outside when our waist comes out, you know, or you know, just how our skin appears. And it's really just taking a slowing down. Like, you know, yoga teaches us to slow down. Mm-hmm. You know, chill, relax. But then also, as you start to educate yourself more, when you slow down, you're going to be able to evaluate, take a look around and say, do I have what I need for myself? You know, and then also, like I said, setting aside your own space, your own time for yourself. That's so important, especially as women. You all take care of the whole world. And Black women, we do it all, right? We do it all. But all women, you know, of course. We have a whole lot on our plate, but you know, if you do not start to take these 5 to 15 to 25 minutes for yourself every day to get on your mat, you know, and to pay attention to what's going on inside of you, then we will have, you know, we'll have problems. We'll develop issues if we don't start taking our time now. I think if that's something that should be an incentive for your age group, you know, or just people who are just gracing and maturing, you know, is that like, this is your time, you know, this is just as much your time as it was 30 years ago. You know, this is your time and you deserve that self-care.
I am totally with you. I am in a space now where I feel like I have everything I need to go where I want to go. Like there's no more excuses. The kids are gone. You're ready to retire from the grind of this day-to-day work and do something that's going to be fulfilling and servicing another era in your life. And health and wellness coaching is like it for me. But I find that there's like a mindset that I'm dealing with that many women feel like, oh, this is the end of my life. I'm in menopause. I can't have kids, like all of these negative things. I'm like, no, don't accept that narrative. Like we're here to redefine this, and it's going to start with you, and it's the way you're thinking about it. And there's a litany of other things that come into the picture, but that's number one, the way you're thinking about it. And so I'm just so loving everything that you're saying. And for you to be balling, like you're boss right now, like what you're doing and the trajectory that you're headed is just going to be amazing. And I'm so delighted to know you, because I'm going to stay with you, girl. So one of the things that I would like to do is I will have your information in the body of this recording so people can reach out to you. I want to know about your December program because I need to do this for myself. I think my concern is that I still have a 40-hour commitment to another entity. I'm doing my business practically 40 hours a week, and yes. I have a spouse and yes. I just have other obligations, but I miss that element of stillness for my fitness. Like I have a home gym, I do my workout, but this is missing. I really want to get back into yoga. So I need to figure out how to get you sprinkled on my calendar, but I need to be committed. And like I say, I've loved what I've seen that you've done, your poses and the way you communicate. You have such a wonderful aura and spirit about yourself. And it comes across. You know, so it's just a matter of time. You're going to blow up. You're not going to have time to work with too many people. So I'm going to get in as soon as I can.
I received that. Thank you. I need all of that love and belief.
Keep you too long. Is there any last words that you have? Any further information you want to share? And I'm just so thrilled about where you're going and just what's ahead for you. You're amazing.
So I just definitely want to share for anyone looking to start their journey. You can start anywhere. There's so many resources for us. You know, there is YouTube, there is the internet. You know, we can find a lot of the things that we need online. I definitely recommend, you know, for anyone that's new or looking to start, you can always find a yogi that's close to you. Usually, there's definitely a lot of accessibility to, you know, that kind of training if you all are looking for that. But if y'all would prefer to stay online because it's safer, you know, more convenient, I understand. My program, like I said, starting December 1st, it's going to be wonderful. We're definitely going to be losing weight, gaining flexibility, and we're also, you know, keeping each other accountable. We're meeting at least 3 times per week, and those sessions, they go wonderful. They are, you know, some strength-based sessions, and also yoga sessions. And, you know, like I mentioned before, it's like a interval kind of training. And we have different levels. You know, we have beginners that come in and they kind of do things a little different. And even though I know it probably sounds scary, a lot of the HIIT I find is a lot of yoga. Like, it's still yoga. The HIIT training can, you know, it still ends up being yoga, but we're adding that strength element, you know, where you might find those reps, you might do those push-ups, you know, and it's a little more demanding, but I feel like, you know, I've already got a client who's, you know, in that age group that we spoke about, and she does wonderful. Like, she started from a certain degree, and that's kind of all that you have to do is start where you are. You know, wherever you are, you start there and then you build on it. You don't shortcome yourself. You don't doubt yourself, you know, because you're going to keep on leveling up. So I know it probably sounds like a lot to HIIT yoga, right? But truthfully, it's really not as bad, but it does condition us and gets our cardiorespiratory, you know, it gets us up to date, basically. You know, if you've been out of work, you know, or not really working out for the last couple of months, this is definitely a great program to kind of get you back on track where you feel like you're at least in control or aware. I provide weekly meal plans or suggestions, you know, grocery lists, so that you have that success factor. We have those workouts that are provided weekly, a little diary where you keep track. We hold each other accountable. We take pictures of meals, right? And then each week we have a check-in or a challenge check-in, so that I know that you're doing your work, you know, and you can prove it. You know, we'll have a little challenge in between, and those are really fun. We interact with each other, and everyone's supportive. You know, it's a great loving group, or we're lots of support. And that's another thing. Like, even if you don't join my 30-day challenge, that's totally okay. Find your tribe, you know, find the people who are going to help you and support you. Get rid of any people who don't, you know, who question you, who make you feel like you're crazy. You have to set that environment that you want, okay? Literally, you know, y'all are not, you know, old people who have no room to go anywhere. You know, you're still growing and maturing. Like, this is your journey. You should be enjoying it, you know. That's what I recommend. Enjoy your journey, set your space, right?
You hit the nail on the head with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm like, set your space and get started. Start somewhere. You know, there's places to start. You know, there's free things on YouTube. There's a lot of free resources out here, you know. But, you know, and then there's people like me who are more personalized, and you get that intimate thing. And it's okay to start somewhere else. You know, it's okay to be at the gym. It's okay to be at home online, or be in the course. Just do you, you know, and set your mind.
Well, with you, you have that accountability. That's the great thing about it, because some people might have the best position and they fall off, and nobody's making sure, hey, what are you doing? What happened? Like,
yes. And I'm definitely rough. I'm like, wait, I see you falling. Wait a minute. That's the best part. You know, I'm very supportive. You know, we're there for each other. So it's good.
So how big is your class? Like, do you have a maximum number of people that can come in the December class, or how is that set?
No, it pretty much varies. A lot of people, you know, what I've learned about fitness and everything else is that people are either interested or they're not. And then sometimes they're both, you know what I'm saying? And they come back and forth. Like, it's pretty small now. I would say it's fairly intimate, you know, about a handful of people, I would say. But I think I've had, you know, larger classes. And with it being online, you know, there's not necessarily a limit, because I'll be on Zoom, and Zoom has that 100 participants. So we don't really ever run out of space for people. It's just about the heart of those who come in, you know, and their willingness to stick it through.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, because my thing is, like, I like to work with intimate groups too. I know there are coaches who have hundreds of people that show up in a class, but I'm in the space right now where it's important to have that accountability, and also to know that person that I'm working with. I don't want you to be a face amongst many, many others, and I'm like, I don't even know who she is. Like, that's not my space right now. It's very intimate. So I like the fact that your group is like that as well. So, wow. You've just provided so much information. I don't think anybody wouldn't be encouraged to start their journey of yoga. For me, this will be, you know, a reintroduction. I love yoga, and I've actually tried to do a couple of them online with the videos or something. It's just like, I do 2 moves. It's like, okay, I can't do it. Like, no. So I need accountability. I'm the kind of person I need to have a coach. I need to have somebody. Do I have this right? Am I working it? Yeah. So I would definitely be looking into your December class. So is it like a month class? Is that the way it's set up from December to December? I mean, 1st to the 30th?
Yeah, so we were supposed to start November 1st again, but I decided to kind of put that on hold, until I wanted to restructure everything and then also provide more time to people, because I have a bad habit of not really pushing it out beforehand, what I'm saying? Like I hold things close to chest and I'm like, okay, I'm doing it now. And so to give people more time to get into the program, I decided, okay, well, I'll just start it December 1st instead. That way I'll get a month to, get everyone in. And then there's an onboarding process, it's kind of like an accountability group, but to be accountable, I have to know where you started at, so the onboarding process is, you send in your measurements, your before and after, your before pic, and that pic doesn't go to anyone else. What I do like about it is that it is so intimate. You all send the pictures to me, but I don't ever post those pictures of my clients, because
yeah,
I don't know, like I just don't think, I don't see a need to. So what it is that it is accountability. We're taking that before picture, but when it comes to the after picture, when we take that as well, it's going to be for you to see, just so that you can actually see yourself. Because I know a lot of people who don't like to look at themselves, right? We don't want to see how we really appear, how we really are. We would rather have, a sort of, what's that word? Is it mirage? I don't know. Whatever that word is, that it means, basically some sort of deception in that mirror. But to really look at yourself is very important. Like, and it's never a bad thing, because where you started, that's just where your launching point, like, and that's kind of something that I always drive home. I love everyone, the energy that they bring when they're in a great mood and they're ready to work out. And even if you come in not so good mood, we're gonna get you ramped up so that you're excited and you ready, because it's time.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person where I don't lie about my body to myself. I know where, okay, you dropped the ball here, and I'm not trying to be a 20-year-old person. I'm not trying to go backwards, but I do know, like, okay, if you stayed on track, you wouldn't be having, this issue with feeling a little tighter. But I'm on my scale practically every day. I'm watching what I'm eating. I mean, I'm pretty cognizant about what I do, but I do know that at this stage, I want a strong body. I want a healthy body.
Yes.
It's like, yes. Home on COVID, it has definitely showed up, and I'm not beating myself up because I'm unhappy with who I am. I love who I am. I love my body. A lot of people wish they could have, this, not to proud about it, but like, I worked hard. Like, these guns didn't come because, I wasn't putting in.
That's right.
But it's also something, they don't stay like that if you're not consistently doing it. I know I've been slacking.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm building a business. Like, I have a lot of plates spinning in the air, but I'm doing a lot, and I'm focused on the most important thing right now is to transition into my business full time, and then keeping the exercising going and keeping the walking going, watching what I eat. But it takes a lot. It really does, in prioritizing that focus. And I just need to get back into yoga, because there was something so centering about it that I'm missing right now, because I'm giving so much.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like I need to feel the wheel up.
Yoga is your give back. Yes.
It was like amazing. I absolutely loved it. So I don't know if you felt like doing a pose or two. If not, that's okay. We're going to provide your link. And I'm just thrilled, like, first of all, for what you're doing and sharing it on the platform. Like, that's huge. And thank you for that. And I just know it's just going to be a matter of time. People are going to want to get to you, and they're not going to be able to get to you.
Yes.
I feel it.
Receive that.
Like, what you're doing is so unique, and when people get with you, they're going to want to stay there. And I would just be interested in see how the lady who's doing this in my age group, like, is she gonna make me look bad because I can't keep a pose now? My balance is
I'm not gonna say body back. She has come from a lot.
Yeah.
Would you say?
I'm going to say she would be encouraging to me as well. Like, I remember I used to do the pose where you be on like one leg and you got I couldn't do that now for nothing.
And that's okay, because like you said, if you lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? Yep. But the second you start using it again, your body remembers. Your body doesn't forget, and our bodies will adapt to whatever we put them through. So the key is, it's just your consistency. If you were to try that pose every day, now maybe you don't have the strength you feel like to stay consistent. That's where, a group like mine comes in handy, or someone who can support you along your journey, and they give you exactly what it is you need. And basically, which is to sit yourself down and do that pose, It's just like, yes, it's like that,
I'm in the space of health and wellness, and people want to try to slide. No, this is what's happening, right? Either you're gonna show up 100%, or this is gonna be.
Wrap your mind around the fact that you are stuck here with me for 30 minutes or 45, and we always cool down. We always warm up. We always have a stretch to warm up, and even if we're doing a little more body weight kind of movements, that's okay. We always do that cool down at the end. So, the incorporation is serious. We're balancing all aspects, the yoga, the fitness, the diet, and the lifestyle. And then really starting to see, once you get in the program with me, I will start to show you how you have time. You do have the time to work out. You do have the time for yoga. It's just about being so intentional, being so like narrow-minded. You're right.
You are absolutely speaking my language. Yeah, you definitely have to set your intention. I try to do that at the beginning of my day. I'm gonna set the intention that this is what it's going to be. And getting back into yoga is my intention. I really need to do that and want to do that, and look forward to doing it along with you. And I'm so thrilled that we connected. And
yes, me too.
Do your class.
What'd you say, sis?
I said I'm gonna connect with you and do your class. I need to do your class, definitely.
Yes. So I know that, not everybody wants to be, 20 again or 30 again or anything. Y'all have, I just want to encourage you all that your bodies can still, do some amazing things. I was going to do a pose, but I don't want to scare y'all away. I don't want you to feel like you can't do it.
Referencing your poses, they are beautiful. At least one. I don't care which one. And I don't think it's going to scare anybody away. I think it would encourage them to let them know they can do that too. It takes a lot of commitment, but they can be there too.
Okay. Well, I probably should have planned out a little pose for it. But I will say, I have some of my favorite poses. They are hip openers. Those are usually some of my favorites. And then I have one that I typically do at the end of class, and that one is to release stress in the back and in the spine. Let me see if I can work it out down here. Okay, so we come up, and this is one of my favorite poses. It's called Happy Baby. I hope y'all can see me. Okay, and it's so good, and I always like to hug the knees in. And so those are some great little poses towards the end of the night. And then cat and cow is one. And this one is a great little warm-up pose. We typically start with these kind of stretches. And even if you were to just do these simple movements, per day, like it would really make a difference. This one is another one. Got a low lunge pose. And this is going to, bring a lot of opening into this hip right here. And runner's lunge is one of my favorite. A lot of you all kind of sit a lot. Or maybe you don't bring a lot of activity into the legs. This forward fold is a good one as well. And those are probably some of my top poses for if you, are at home and you sit down a lot or feeling a little sedentary. Those are the ones I would recommend. Like I said, I love balance, so that's kind of my thing.
There was one I remember we called like a table or something, where you have all fours up and you're stretching out. I can't remember specifically the name of the pose, but I know
it's that tabletop. You're on all fours?
Yeah, it kind of looked like a table, but I know we ended up flipping where everything was pointed upward at some point. But it's like good stretches. And I think another thing about the yoga is like that flexibility. And that's one of the things that helps you when you get
Hmm.
older, because sometimes people, they can't bend over because everything hurts, and
Oh yeah,
they break
yeah.
bones because their bones are brittle, their muscle tone has diminished, they don't have that, the atrophy has happened in like the quads and stuff. So yeah,
Hmm.
the thing is like
Absolutely.
yoga will help you in all of those areas.
Yes, you have more to lose by not doing yoga or any movement. You have, okay, maybe you don't have more to lose, but there's so much more. You have more to lose, by not doing yoga than the embarrassment or the discomfort that you might experience first getting into it, or trying something that you've never tried before. There's more pain in the not doing that than there is in the discomfort of actually stepping out, because like you said, like these are some very, very, very serious complications, or not even complications. It's like the action of not trying produces that reaction of your body locking down, your joints locking up, you losing that muscle density, like you talked about, not having the tissues, or even we know that the collagen that we got now, it ain't gonna last forever. We have to be working it, after a certain age, after 25. And I'm 25 now. I learned this year that after 25, we don't get no more collagen. We don't, some of this stuff we don't get back. And I'm like, oh, after 25, your bone density where you at right now, that's about as much as it's gonna be. And from there, we start degrading, or it starts on deteriorating, shall I say, unless we do something about it. So
Yeah.
anybody, not only just people who are, maybe considered older or more mature, people who are my age, or in their 30s and their 40s, the same things are happening to their bodies as well from not working it. So it has nothing to do with age. This is just the human process. As human beings, our bodies will not last forever, but we can do something about that, right? We can be proactive as far as repairing, restoring, gaining back our flexibility. Like I said, I was not a flexible person. I don't know how bad I was, but I know I was more clumsier, unstable, like I trip over a stick, okay, a stick in the road, I'm tripping. And I'm like, dang, who put that stick in the road? But now, now, through putting myself through these poses and even the balance poses are so important, especially for, there are two groups that I consider the most important for: athletes,
Athletes.
which are people who are like elite, superhuman people who are, playing sports in the NBA and the NFL.
Right.
Those people are it's most important for, and older people is most important for. And those are people, who are the opposite of athletes. But if that certain attribute, aka balance, if it's that important for an athlete, it has to be, that much more important for a regular person. It can definitely affect the way that you handle certain like things, or uneven,
Right.
uneven platforms, or just eventually encountering something that's going to throw you off balance. If you have those stability muscles, which are, around the ankle, goes up to the knee and to the hip as well. So it's a joint connection. If you strengthen that connection, you'll be unstoppable.
You can
So
flow with it instead of that friction that'll snap or break. And that's another thing about
yes,
yoga.
absolutely.
Even if you have a lot of pains, I found that if you were doing yoga consistently, you work through those pains some kind of way. They kind of disappear. Yeah.
Sometimes my client tells me that every day. She'll be like, wait, all of a sudden I had this pain and I don't feel it anymore. And that is just something that you can contribute to your fitness, to your movement, to whatever efforts you put in that way. It's going to help you work through it. Not to say you're not going to have pain,
Yeah.
and even I experience
The level
pain.
that you had
I
it
experience
before.
discomfort.
Yeah. I
It
am
can happen to anyone.
right, right. But this is one of those ways that you can expand your body's lifetime, because you're giving it the ability to move and to stretch and to not be sedentary and constricting, not floating.
Hmm.
So it's there's no reason for you not to do something. Because I even took a class that was chair yoga one time for people who had like limited,
Yeah.
they could work out doing certain poses in a chair. So it works. It definitely works. I'm a big fan of it, and I'm super excited that you're offering what you're offering. So for those who are looking for little gift giving ideas, hey, this is it. Get yourself into a yoga program. You have the nutrient, you have everything, and it's not just yoga. I've never spoken to someone who had a yoga practice and have incorporated all of these different elements in a program like you have. So it's going to be a fantastic offer for those to look forward to in December.
Yes, I'm super excited. Thank you for having me and sharing your time and space. I can talk about yoga all day, but we won't.
That's when we know you're in the right spot. You're speaking about your passion, and I'm the same
Yeah.
way for women in this space, and they need to be aware that what you offer is something that they can incorporate and it can benefit them immensely. So I'm going to thank you again for being here. I'm going to close out the video, but don't drop off. I just want to connect with you formally
Sure.
for
Okay.
goodbye. So everybody, again, we appreciate you being here, and I hope you have learned so much about yoga. Check out the packages, and I'll have all of the content details in the description box. So if there's anything further, if not, we'll just shut this off and we'll talk in just a second after I close out.